Dark Shadows, number 28. VTR 72066, air 8366, take one.
My name is Victoria Winters, a 9-year-old boy, driven by fear and desperation, has disappeared from Collinwood. A boy who holds the key to an attempted murder, a crime that involves the interest and concern of many people.
Sheriff, I want to talk to you.
People usually knock before they come in here.
Did you knock on my door?
Oh, so that's it.
I just called the hotel. They told me you searched my room. You have no right to do that.
Calm down, Burke, and let's not talk about rights. I'm investigating a crime here, and don't you forget it. I don't need any lessons in rights from you or anybody else.
Maybe my lawyers will have something to say about that.
Oh, you threatening me, Burke?
No. I'm just telling you to stay away from me.
Well, I know you're a big man, Burke. Big success. You got a 3-room suite in the top of the hotel. But you're also a suspect in the crime of attempted murder.
I had nothing to do with that.
Then why are you so worried about my searching your room? What do you have to hide, Burke? I asked you a question, Burke. What do you have to hide?
Not a thing.
And why are you all so fired up about my searching your room?
Because you had no right to do it without a search.
Without a search warrant? If I had one, Burke. It's right here in this mess on my desk if I can find it. Here. Want to see it, Burke? All legal. Wouldn't move without it.
What were you looking for?
Oh, this and that. You never know what you might find.
Did you find anything?
Had a lot of time to make a pretty thorough search, Burke. You know, you've got some nice clothes up there. Where'd you buy them?
Never mind about my wardrobe. Whose idea was this, Carter?
Oh, I don't see that it matters. It's normal police procedure.
I can't buy that. If you wanted to search my rooms, you'd have walked in with a warrant when you came up to question me, and you know it.
Oh, I'm just a small-town sheriff, Burke. I guess I was a little slow.
I can't buy that either. Who pushed you, Roger Collins?
Oh, wait a minute, Burke. Yes? Yes, I've got the file. You'll just have to wait a minute. I'm not ready yet. Listen, Burke. Nobody tells me how to do my job. Not Roger Collins or anybody else.
Well, he and that family railroaded me into prison 10 years ago. And I haven't forgotten it. And it's not going to happen again.
I thought that was all past history, Burke. I thought you didn't hold any grudges against Roger Collins.
Look, the only thing you have to know is that I didn't tamper with that car. I told you that up in my room, and that ought to end it.
Nothing ends it, Burke. Until I find out all the information I need. I've got to take this file into my deputy. In the meantime, you'd better do a little thinking.
About what?
About the fact that a car did go off the road. And Roger Collins was almost killed. And if you didn't do it, Burke, who did?
Come on, young man. In you go. Go on, march. You know, you were lucky you weren't picked up for vagrancy.
I didn't do anything.
Well, how long were you hanging around out in that hotel lobby?
I was just sitting there.
Well, wouldn't it be better to sit in here where you can have a sundae at the same time?
I don't want anything.
Oh, of course you do. Now, you get up on one of these stools while I go back there and see what I can cook up. You're David Collins, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, your dad comes in here for coffee quite often. Did you know that?
No.
Well, do you want nuts and whipped cream on it, too?
I don't care.
Well, I wish all my customers were like you. You know, as a matter of fact, I was hoping your father would be coming in tonight. Kind of anxious to talk to him. Do you know where he is?
At the office, I guess.
Don't you know?
I told you. At the office.
Oh. Well, how'd you get into town, anyway?
With my father.
Well, will he know where to find you?
Uh-huh. Say, do you think I could work the fountain sometime?
Sure, David. Say, when do you think your father will be coming in for you?
Oh, pretty soon.
He is coming, isn't he?
I told you.
You sure did. Okay. But don't gobble it. I have to go make a phone call and tell my father where I am. Well, how does it taste?
Say, it's pretty good with whipped cream.
You bet it is.
See anyone you know?
I graduated from that class 5 years ago.
Has it been that long since you got out of prison?
My sentence was reduced. I was a good boy. I still am.
I know you keep telling me.
Carter, I've been thinking about that question you asked me. Who else might be responsible for that accident?
Hold it. Yeah. Okay, put him on. Just a second, Burke. Long distance. Yeah. Oh, Frank? How are you? Just grand. Hey, look, I left word for you to call me collect. Well, if the New York Police Department has all that money to spend on phone calls, it's all right with me. Did you come up with anything? I see. Look, Frank, where are you? Could I call you back in 10 minutes? Good. Talk to you soon. Did you think of anyone?
No. And that's the point.
So you're the only pigeon.
I didn't know you had business with New York.
Oh, we get inquiries now and then. You know, that's the trouble, Burke. Up till now, you're the only one I can put my finger on.
Yes? And you're going to keep on putting your finger on me, aren't you? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I came to this town for a visit. And I don't want you hounding me for something I didn't do.
Hound you, Burke? I wouldn't think of it.
Now, what do you call searching my room? What do you call asking people in New York questions about me? Don't try to tell me that that phone call wasn't about me.
You know something, Burke? You're beginning to sound more and more like a man with a guilty conscience.
All right. Let's get this over with. You came to my room to look for a bleeder valve. The one that was stolen from Roger's car.
Maybe.
Was it there?
No.
Well, that ought to prove something.
Doesn't prove a thing, Burke. If you took that bleeder valve off, you'd be a darn fool to hang on to it.
Well, why do you go on looking for it?
It's my job.
All right. You do your job. Find the guy that stole that bleeder valve. But get off of my back and stay off.
We'll be seeing you, Burke. Get me New York again. Lieutenant Frank Palmer.
Say, would you like another one?
No, thanks. I better be going.
Say, David, how would you like to try making one yourself?
Could I?
Sure. You go right around that counter, and I'll give you a full set of instructions.
Looking for someone?
No, only a customer. You know, it's getting pretty lonely in here. Oh, now let me show you how to use that ice cream.
I know how.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead. Oh, very good. Say, David, you want to know something funny? The hotel clerk just told me that you were trying to get into Burke Devlin's room.
That's not true. The door was open. I was just looking.
Any particular reason? Hey, where are you going?
I don't want the sundae.
Oh, David, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be nosy. I just wanted to make conversation.
I think I'll go back to the lobby.
David, you know, it is getting pretty lonely in here, and that Sunday's going to go to waste. Say, why don't you go back there and make another Sunday for me, and then you and I'll have a party. I'll tell you what. You can even put hot fudge on it. Is that a deal?
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Collins. I'm so anxious to see you. I've kept him here as long as I could. He was hanging around in the lobby. I thought you'd never get here.
Well, I have a few other things to do besides chasing all over town after my son. Where is he?
He was behind the counter. Oh, he was right here making this sundae. Well, he couldn't have gotten out those doors that fast. Well, he was here just a minute ago, believe me.
Well?
He's not in the lobby and nobody saw him go through. I don't understand it. He just disappeared so quickly.
Spells and incantations, Maggie. If he does rematerialize, do me a favor. Don't call me again.
Well, how will he get home?
Well, he found his own way into town, didn't he? I'm sure he can solve that problem, too.
It's dark now.
Well, all right. If he does show up, try checking me at the office. But tell him to warn himself that he's in for a good, solid lecture.
Mr. Collins,
Well, what now?
did you know that David tried to get into Burke Devlin's room?
No.
Well, I asked him why. He said he was just curious.
Curious about what?
He didn't say.
Oh, Maggie, if you do see David, the minute you see him, get a hold of him and call me.
Mr. Collins, I'm curious about something, too. My father.
What about your father?
Well, I've wanted to talk to you about it ever since... He's been very upset lately, and I'm worried about him.
Upset about what?
Well, I don't know, but I thought maybe you could tell me.
Why me?
Well, I'm not sure, but... Well, ever since that night that Burke came back to town and you came in here looking for Pop, well, he's been frightened. I want to know why.
How should I know?
Because I'm sure it has something to do with you and Burke. I mean, even when Burke came to the house, Pop was so jittery that I couldn't even...
Burke came to see your father?
Well, yes, a couple of times.
Were you there?
Yes?
What did they talk about?
Well, I don't know. Pop was just acting so strangely.
Did they talk about me?
Then he is involved.
But he's involved in nothing.
Well, then why are you so worried about their conversation?
Oh, I'm not worried, Maggie. I'm just curious, like you are. I mean, doesn't it seem strange that a man comes back to Collinsport after 10 years and then all of a sudden runs right over to see your father?
No, that doesn't seem strange at all. Burke used to pose for my Pop.
Oh, that's what they were discussing, your father's latest paintings.
Partly. As a matter of fact, Pop's going to do a portrait of Burke.
What do you think of that, Roger? I'm going to be preserved in oils. Maggie, do you have any of that lobster roll left in the kitchen? Oh, I'm not breaking up the great romance, am I?
No. We were just talking about Pop.
Oh, are you a fan of his?
No, but you seem to be.
Maggie, would you see about the lobster roll, please? Why should my going to see Sam Evans bother you, Roger?
I was just wondering how you expect him to do a portrait of you when you plan to leave town so soon.
Plans change. You ought to know that.
I know that you've had your last chance, Burke. I'm not going to let you have it again.
You still think I tried to kill you, don't you?
Now, don't mess with me.
What are you going to do? Put pressure on the local police? Railroad me out of town like you did 10 years ago?
I'm going to get rid of you, Burke, one way or the other.
It won't work. Not this time.
I know what you are. You're nothing but an ex-convict who managed to pick up a little money. Well, you've had it, Burke. The minute the brakes on my car failed and I went off that road, you signed your way right back into prison.
I'm not there yet.
You will be.
Are you sure it was David Collins?
Look, I had him in here with me for 15 minutes before he disappeared. Of course, that's who it was.
Yeah. When they told me a kid had sneaked into my room, I never dreamed. Did they know what he was looking for?
Oh, you know kids. The chambermaid left the door open and he decided to look around. Just curious, I guess.
Maggie, when it comes to that family, nobody's just curious. Not where I'm concerned. Maggie, sit down, will you?
I have to get back to work.
Oh, come on. There's no customers around. Keep me company. Roger Collins was a little upset when you told him I'd been to see your father, wasn't he?
Yes, he seemed to be.
Maggie, this might be important. Did Collins and your father see anything of each other while I was away?
No, not at all until...
Until when? Maggie, you know I'm very fond of your father. I wouldn't do a thing in this world to hurt him.
Well, that night that you came back to town, Roger Collins came in here looking for Pop, and he seemed pretty anxious to find him. Now, what's happening, Burke? What is it?
And before that night, they weren't seen with each other at all, right?
Well, I told you. The last time I remember seeing him at the house, I was just a kid.
Just about 10 years ago.
I think so. It was just about the time of your trial.
That's right.
Burke, what's happening?
I don't know. Yet.
How long do you intend to sit on it? Till Devlin packs his bags and leaves town?
Don't worry about that, Collins. I've already asked Burke to stay around for a while.
He should be behind bars, not walking the streets, talking to people, digging up.
Digging up what?
I just think that when a man tries to commit a murder, something ought to be done to him.
Something will. You know, it's a curious thing about this whole affair. It has to do with something more than just a car going off the road.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, you talked about Burke digging up something.
Oh, well, that's just a phrase.
I know, but it reminded me of something I asked Burke not too long ago. I said, what do you have to hide? Tell me, is there something you don't want him to dig up?
Carter, I did not tamper with the brakes on my own car.
I
I
know.
merely came here to find out if you've learned anything more. Anything at all that would help you make an arrest.
Well, I did get a report from New York.
About Burke?
Mm-hmm. Seems he's clean. He runs an investment company. Buys into outfits and then sells them at a profit. All very legal except for one curious thing my friend dug up.
What's that?
Well, it seems that Devlin hired a private detective to come up here 2 weeks before he arrived. From what I can find out, the detective's job was to dig up information about you and your family. So that same question I asked Burke, I hope you can answer. Do you have anything to hide?
You want anything else?
No, I think that'll do me for a while. Where you been, looking for the kid?
Yes. Burke, I just don't understand it. He disappeared into thin air.
Well, maybe he got into my room.
Oh, he didn't even have time to get out of the restaurant.
Here.
Oh, thanks.
Well, if you see him again, would you tell him I've had enough of the Collins family for one day? And don't worry, Maggie.
Me? I never worry.
From the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, from the White House, and from key points around Washington, D.C., ABC News brings you live color coverage of the Lucy Johnson wedding, Saturday morning on ABC. Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.